Awesome. Welcome, everybody, to the annual joint meeting between the Future Technical Communicators Club and the Florida chapter of the Society for Technical Communication. Hi again, everyone. My name is Joy Carandang, and I am the historian of FTC. My co-hosts tonight are Bethany Aguad, the president of STC Florida, as well as John Clement, the secretary of STC Florida. Together, we'll be the facilitators of tonight's meeting. Before we begin, we ask that you please mute yourselves to avoid picking up any background noises. Additionally, please let us know in the chat if you're having any technical difficulties, and we'll promptly look into them. New professionals in technical communication face new challenges and new opportunities each day. We are joined by some of our former student members who have recently embarked on their new careers. They'll be sharing their experiences as new professionals in technical communication and answering questions from you. I would want to thank our presenters for joining us on the call tonight: Shannon Maharajh, James Yunik, Cora Heisler, and Julia Southwick.
Right. And so tonight we have an agenda with a few different items. We're going to be going to a few different places throughout the presentation. We're going to be starting off with a welcome, then going to about the STC Florida chapter, about FTC, and then our Young TechCom Professionals presentation, and then followed by moderated Q&A at closing. So we also want to share a little bit of information about each of our organizations, FTC and STC throughout the presentation, just so especially anyone new can learn about us, what each of us offer, and then we'll transition into hearing about each speaker, and then of course hearing some advice and answers from each speaker as well.
All right. Thank you, Joy and John. Just to reiterate, my name is Bethany Aguad. I am the president of the Florida chapter of STC. We're so glad you're here. So we are the Florida chapter of the Society for Technical Communication, which is advancing the theory and practice of technical communication. We're really proud of our close ties to the University of Central Florida through the Future Technical Communicators Student Club. And this has fostered a lot of student professional transitions and enabled our members and visitors to benefit from learning from each other at every experience level. Just for a little background, the Florida chapter was formed in 1977, and we're dedicated to serving the needs of technical communicators originally in Central Florida, but now beyond. And we support our members by providing an outlet for networking, fellowship, and sharing of information among like-minded people. We recognize our members with an active community-minded professional association. We also provide information regarding employment opportunities in Florida, and we also have a lot of professional leadership opportunities. So I'll be sharing a little bit more on the next slide about some of those things that are going on. So there are a few opportunities through our chapter that I wanted to share. Our goal is to develop the practice of technical communication in Florida. So we're trying to sustain a cohesive TechCom community now virtually and sometimes in person, perhaps a bit more in the near future. We hope that you'll join us in networking and fellowship. So some things that are coming up, we hold monthly meetings on Zoom. So our next event is our annual employment panel on March 16th. There's been a wonderful note included there that we have opened our meetings for free to students. We hope you will come and join us. And even if you aren't able to attend the meeting, we do provide recordings of all of our presentations. So that event is going to be a variety of recruiters or network hiring managers and other professionals who can give you advice on what it's like to, from their side, on hiring technical communicators in different roles and answer any questions you have. There's always questions about portfolios because we always have more to know there, but it's a great event. We look forward to hosting it every year. And I think it's a great resource. We've had people find their jobs at that event or acquire connections that help them down the road. I also wanted to mention that we have some volunteer roles that are available right now. So for instance, I'm the president, Julia is vice president, John is secretary. And we also have different committees, much like an FTC, that have different functions. And we're always looking for people who are looking to, contribute to the community. But also, I'll be honest, I started STC because I knew I needed resume items and networking and things for my portfolio. So you are allowed to join us for mercenary reasons. We hope to win you over. But if you're looking for an opportunity to build your sort of overall offering as a technical communicator, we're a great place to start. And I promise we're very nice and it's a very safe space to start to learn things beyond your degree. So a couple things we're looking for right now, an employment chair to help connect recruiters and hiring managers with people beyond our annual event. and also a membership chair as we're, changing what our community looks like and finding ways to connect with our existing members and potential members as well. So if you're interested in either of those roles, or if you just think, I really want something for my resume or portfolio and I'd like to contribute some volunteer time, what do you have for me? Please feel free to reach out to me. I will put my email in the chat. And you know what? Actually, Julia, if you don't mind putting my email in the chat, that would be great. So you're welcome to reach out to me. Also, if you are a student, we encourage you, or not a student, to join STC, which is the professional organization for technical communicators internationally. There's a lot of different benefits. I didn't list them all here, but we'll make sure to share those by email. So not just attending events with us, but broader educational opportunities and things that you can get if you're a member. Also, I know it's going to be mentioned again on an upcoming slide, but I did want to highlight the STC Summit that is coming up in May. And I know for students, you get the best deal for the summit. If you volunteer for free registration, you really can't have a better experience, I think, especially early in your profession. For those who aren't students, it's also, I'm looking forward to going this year. It's been a little bit. It's great for the educational sessions, for the networking, and just for getting exposure to people from different aspects of our field and different companies. So I think I jumped ahead and talked about employment information, but that's that's already mentioned there. And Julia, can I put you on the spot briefly to mention memo to members? I know you did during networking, but we'll share it here too.
Sure. Memo to members is our chapter newsletter. If you're interested in writing something but don't know what to write, we have an ideas page, which I will put in the chat for you. And you can also email your ideas or submissions to me at newsletter@stc-orlando.org, which will also be in the chat for you.
All right. Thank you, Julia. She does it perfectly, so I'm always grateful that she'll do the pitch. It's a wonderful chance to have some great samples of your work out there that you can share. The other thing I realized I jumped ahead and didn't mention for our volunteer roles, we are going to be hosting an event on March 23rd that's free and open to anyone who wants to join. We're calling Leadership and Volunteerism, How STC Can Help Your Career. I'm a big proponent of STC. I'll say because I joined looking for a way to connect, post-graduation, so that I would feel like I was continuing to grow my skills after my education, and also to make connections with people so I'd be able to be employed consistently in my future career. And I really can't understate or overstate how much STC has done for me in building my leadership skills and just the body of work that I have that I'm proud of. And also, I know it was mentioned in the chat, the friends we've made along the way. So I'm looking forward to sharing more, experiences, but also kind of some nuts and bolts. What does it look like? So if you're at all considering volunteering, you're welcome to come and just kind of, see more about what we're covering. All right, so I put this in here because Alex is here and I want to brag on him again. Alex, I'm not making you make a speech, but one of the highest honors you can receive in the Society for Technical Communication is Associate Fellow or Fellow recognition, which means you have contributed extensively to the profession and volunteerism throughout your career. And it's a very high honor that I know Alex has been pursuing for an extended period of time. So I know we've acknowledged this on our newsletter. And Alex will also be honored at the STC Summit, but I wanted to include this here because I'm so grateful to have known Alex throughout his time in STC, and I wanted to highlight his contributions here. So if
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So Alex has been a wonderful professional, an outstanding volunteer, and just a great person. So he has done a lot for many people, and I know will continue to. And look forward to becoming a fellow, Alex.
Yeah, it's a great recognition. I want to thank the society and the chapter. It's been a lot of very fulfilling work over the years. So, and it's as you get more and more involved in STC, you get out what you put in, right? So it's about serving the chapter and serving the community and the technical communication community all around the world. So not just in Florida.
Yeah, absolutely. I have joked with a few people here that eventually become STC famous. You'll have friends and connections in places not just in the US but beyond. And I know Alex is one of those people who has
Exactly.
a broad network of wonderful people that have gotten to work with him. So I'm just glad to have been one of them. And thank you, Alex, for everything you've done.
Thank you so much. And I know John Clement's also on his way. He's been.
John is an STC celebrity. He downplays it, but it's true.
No, right now I'm like, when I grow up, I want to be like Alex.
I appreciate it. I love this group. So
Yeah. So thank you everyone for congratulating Alex in the chat. It could not be more deserved. So I think without further ado, I'm handing it on to John to talk about FTC.
Right. Sounds good. And yeah, just that's super exciting. And congrats again. And I want to just mention a few different things about FTC as we can transition into what does FTC offer. So STC Florida is one of our, well, really is just like our biggest partner throughout FTC's history. And so many things that we do are supported by them. So many things that we do are just offered by them. And we've really grown so much because of them. So I just want to thank STC Florida and STC in general for that. And about FTC, our student club here at UCF, here's a little bit about us. So here's just a welcome from the FTC side. We are a student organization here at UCF dedicated to helping students pursue careers in technical communication. So kind of goes off of our name. We welcome anybody who wants to, in the future, become a technical communicator, and also just alumni too. You can graduate, become part of STC, but still be part of our FTC community. Alumni are just as much part of the community. And so some of the things that we do, we provide opportunities for academic and professional development, networking, leadership, and a lot more too. So membership in FTC is free and open to all. We have pretty much a Google form that you can fill out and just get connected to us, get on our mailing list. But a lot of our events are just like this one. They're free, online, available to everybody. And we invite everyone to just learn and have discussions with us. And regardless of your major or school year, you're welcome to join. So long as you're interested in TechCom, we welcome you. And each year, we celebrate this opportunity to share just an educational time, an educational program, this annual meeting with STC Florida. We do a good amount of programs throughout the year, but at this annual meeting, we really aim to promote the practice of technical communication. And really few better ways than having like a panel of just super talented, this year it's alumni of technical communicators to come and share what they've learned through their time in the industry, because just there's so much value in hearing from others' experiences. And we're really excited for this meeting. And also I wanted to note that tonight, as you've seen, we're joined by so many wonderful people. And I just want to say thanks again to everybody who's coming by. It's super great to see you, as well as our advisors, Dr. J.D. Applin and Dr. Carolyn Glasshouse, who are just so amazing and very supportive of the club in every way as our faculty advisors. So just wanted to give a shout out, and also not to put you on the spot, but in case you wanted to say anything about yourself or about the club, we definitely have some time, and we'd love to hear from both of you too, if you want to say anything.
You're on mute.
Can you hear me? Sorry, guys.
Yep.
FTC started a long time ago. A couple of students, Erica and Bob, started it, and they asked me to be the chair of it, or the faculty sponsor. And then Carolyn joined me some years later, helping me out doing it. It's always nice to work with Carolyn. But I've stayed on as the sponsor, faculty sponsor for FTC, because it really does help. It's not a silly organization where you go ride motorcycles or go skiing. That's fine too. There are clubs on campus that do that. This really helps you get jobs. Joining the FTC and then working with the people in STC really allows you to understand what it's like to get a job, what the field is really about. The professors, we do our best to replicate the work environment and teach some skills, but we can't do everything. And there are many people who can mentor you in STC and in the STC group who will teach you things that we can't. I would also say that as after you graduate, there will be a cohort of people you graduate with, and you will be working in some fashion with these people over the years. You will sort of grow in your careers together. A good way to stay connected to them is through LinkedIn, of course, but also many of these people join FTC and then they join STC and they stay connected and they get their first entry-level jobs and they start moving up in their careers. And oftentimes STC allows people to hear about a new job that's coming up. And that in many ways, via networking, really helps you to move your career forward after you graduate from UCF. So anyway, Future Tech Communicators, which is the campus organization that Carolyn and I sponsor, is a great organization to be a part of. You'll learn so much from it and you network. And then you can move on into STC after you graduate and keep those connections. They will really help your career. Maybe Carolyn wants to say something. Or...
Yeah, I mean, like you said, one of the great things about this club is that it is about your future. Like, we're trying to connect you with people, connect you with other alumni, connect you with jobs. And I know one of the things that I love about working with this group is that, you know, so many times, you know, we have students, they come through our classes, they leave, we kind of never hear from them again. But we have people in this community that, like, you know, we see from the beginning and like we watch them grow, and then we watch these connections get made. And it's really, really something special that, like, you're not necessarily going to see in some other places. Like, you've got this tight-knit group, not just socially, but people who are going to help you in your full career. So not just get that entry-level job, but people who can vouch for you, like, as you move up through your career. And start doing more things. And I always love seeing people as they move through the years and then going, oh, hey, like, you know, I remember, you know, back when you first started and, like, you know, it all seems new and like, you're not really sure where you're going. And, you know, then you're suddenly like getting awards and you're president of things, and we can point to you and say, see, they did it. Like, you're going to be amazing too. So it's the long term in this group is just great to see.
John, you're on mute.
Got to happen at least once. But yeah, I just wanted to say thank you both for just everything that you said about FTC and just those benefits, those experiences. Also true. And yeah, thank you again for saying those. And with that being said about FTC and a little bit about our history and about the club, we can transition into a couple other FTC slides, and I can pass it on to Joy to talk about some things that FTC has done recently and some things we'll be doing in the near future too.
Yes,
All right, and on
sounds
to you,
great.
Joy.
Thank you. So now we'll be presenting some recent events that FTC has participated in. They include our L3 Harris Technologies General Body Meeting Series that occurred on January 23rd and 24th. And this event featured technical writers who work at L3 Harris to support their summer 23 tech writer internship, as well as answer any and all questions about the field from early career professionals, as well as students. And to watch the full recordings, you are all welcome to visit the FTC YouTube channel, which we regularly post on and update. And this past weekend, actually, a group of FTC members prepared and presented a workshop at the Spark STEM Fest, which was held at the Orlando Science Center, to middle school and high schoolers about TechCom and just the range of fields and industries that it spans in. And our presentation was titled How Tech Writers Save the World Time. And this event would have not been possible if not for all of the FTC members, both attending and behind the scenes, who helped to design our brochure, website, and our presentation. And also throughout the year, FTC offers a variety of opportunities for all members and non-members alike. Our meetings include guest speaker presentations and Q&As, professional development workshops, discussions, and fun socials. Our meetings, again, are free to all, and they are primarily held online via Zoom. Our next meeting will be held on February 28th, called Blogging to Build Your Professional Portfolio, which will be led by our own Publications Committee member, Alexandria Conte. And we also offer many volunteering opportunities in FTC leadership. And we routinely share jobs and internships through our connections such as Lockheed Martin and L3 Harris. If you are interested in any of these, please feel free to let us know in the chat or follow us on our Discord server where we routinely update and keep you on the loop. And moreover, our roster of 6 FTC members, plus a couple of people joining from STC Florida, are looking forward to attending the STC Summit, which is an international tech conference. And this year it will be held in Atlanta on May 14th to 17th. And in these efforts, FTC does fundraising to help each student go for as low as cost as possible. And to support us, you can follow us and look out soon for our t-shirt sales and online fundraiser via Discord and our socials. And now it's time to welcome our FTC alums who are serving as our panelists for tonight's program. And specifically, we are honored to have young professionals in technical communication from different industries here to share their experiences beyond FTC in their career and after graduation. And each presenter will be giving a brief introduction of themselves and their TechCom journeys. We ask that you please hold your questions until the Q&A following all of the presentations. So today we will start off by introducing Shannon Maharajh, who is a technical writer and editor at Lockheed Martin.
Hi, everyone. I hope all is well. So my name is Shannon Maharajh. I am a recent graduate from UCF in the TechCom program. I was a CWEP intern for 1 year and eight months, and now I'm a contractor for Lockheed at RMS. So I initially transferred to UCF during COVID. So spring 2021 is when I transferred. I was admitted as an aerospace engineering major, however, made a career change into TechCom and now eventually tech writing. It's a field that allows me to still retain that technical information that I wanted to gain in engineering, and now I'm able to communicate it and in a sense translate it to different audiences that may not understand the technical jargon. So that's very cool. And I'm such a geek that I even wrote a thesis on examining technical communication in aerospace defense. I love the industry. I'm extremely grateful for FTC because I landed the internship through a job posting back in May of 2021. So I'm forever grateful for this organization. A little bit about me is I love technical writing, and I've actually paired it with emergency management. So I've written a couple of documents that have been sent to the Florida Division of Emergency Management, which is the federal level for all things emergency management related. My favorite book is actually Spaceman and Astronaut's Unlikely Journey to Unlock the Secrets of the Universe. It's a memoir by retired astronaut Mike Massimino. I love to read memoirs. I love space. I love space exploration. Fun fact, I did see the Artemis launch in person, which was absolutely incredible. So if there are any space lovers out there, feel free to contact me. I would love to geek out about space with you. And then one fun fact is I can write script calligraphy, and I've actually been practicing calligraphy for over 5 years now.
All right, thank you, Shannon, and loved hearing about all of that. And next up, we have our very own James.
Hey, I've been at Lockheed Martin, as I said earlier, since May of 2021. I started as a contractor. I was there for about 18 months, and they were able to push on a little extension because there was a bit of a difficulty in landing the positions, I suppose. But they brought on 4 of us, and I've been full-time since November 28th of 2022, so just a little bit now. I mainly work on, it's documentation, usually user guides and manuals. So I was on some flight trainers in the beginning, and I'm on more of a software project at the moment. So I really love tech. What kind of drew me to tech writing is kind of the versatility of it. So I knew there would be a lot of remote work possible, and probably a bit of flexibility. And so far that has been my experience. I know that's not going to always be the case. And it's also a really good blend of my skills. So my first degree was in Associate of Science in Information Technology, which I earned in 2006. I worked in that field for about 6.5 years. And I'm also, I dabble in creative writing as well. So it's kind of a neat blend. There's not a lot of room for creative writing and technical writing, but there's room for creativity and trying to find solutions to different problems and that kind of thing. And of course, in document formatting and that kind of thing. So it's been a really nice experience for me so far. The first book that came to mind was Battlefield Earth. I don't know why. It's just something that I've read a couple times. I've really enjoyed it. Kind of a rollicking space saga of rising from the ashes and overcoming steep odds. So, and it's Shannon might appreciate it. It's a lot of space. Good times. And a fun fact about me: I once backpacked internationally. I traveled for almost 2 years. I traveled through around 24 countries before coming home. Oh yeah, I've heard the movie is atrocious. Definitely the book is better than the movie. I haven't read the book in a little bit, but still it holds a place in my heart for sure.
All right, thank you, James. Loved hearing about those experiences and the fun facts too. And awesome. So next up we have Cora. You are up.
Hi guys, it's me. I am currently a proposal coordinator at Thomson Reuters. I graduated in 2021 December after a year at UCF. Before that, I did Valencia for 2 years and I direct connected. After I graduated, it was kind of difficult for me to actually find a job for the first couple of months because one, I feel like now that I've been out of the inside of the job for a year plus, it was difficult because it wasn't hiring season. No one wanted to hire a fresh graduate because who thinks to hire a newbie in December? Now that that's done, I love tech writing. I think it allows effective communication. And honestly, as my friends and people who here know me, I do not love to write. I did not love creating my own content. I did not love having to write long discussion boards for Dr. Applin. It was not my favorite thing to do. However, I do believe that writing can connect people, and I do believe that has the power to, change the way that people see writing, I guess is the way to say it. I currently work hand in hand with different SMEs, program managers for Medicaid, Medicare, tax fraud, clear analytics, dev teams, and sales reps. And I coordinate proposal efforts all the way from project conception, so that's like procurement, all the way to delivery, which involves a bunch of things. And I work with Thomson Reuters government software as a service sales. Oh yeah, true. SME is subject matter expert. Good point. I like seeing all of the hard work come together at the end, so all the stress is well worth it because Thomson Reuters makes a lot of money off of it. So my favorite book is The Alchemist. I've been reading it since middle school, and every time I read it, it's a little different because I'm always in a different headspace. I'm not a good public speaker, which is why I chose to work remotely. And that's why this is really hard. I work full-time remotely, traveling in my van. I'm currently at a beach in Mulegé in Bajas, California.
All right, super cool. Thank you, Cora. And I love hearing about the variety of tech common writing experiences. And also, I just always love hearing about your travels too. So I like saying that. And next up, we have Julia. You are up.
Hey everyone, I'm Julia Southwick. I use she, her pronouns. I started my TechCom journey actually back in college when I first heard about it and wondered, what is that? And when a family friend explained it, I was like, wait, I do that all the time around the dinner table because my dad's an engineer. So he talks all the technical stuff like a SME would. And I have to translate it so that my mom and anyone else who happens to be there can actually understand it. Then after graduating, I started at Siemens as a contractor right before COVID hit, so that didn't really work out. But a few months later, I got my job at JAT as a technical writer. I've been there for 3, going on 4 years now. And as part of STC Florida, I started off as one of Bethany's mentees. She's been amazing. I love working with her. I then started writing for Memo to Members. I became the editor and communications chair. And this year, I'm the vice president of the chapter. It's been a lot of great fun. I love tech writing because it's a good blend of research, reading, writing, asking questions, helping others understand technology. As I said earlier, it comes easy to me because of my family's background in engineering. My favorite book changes all the time, but at the moment, I think it's probably The Secrets of the Immortal Nicholas Flamel, The Sorceress. It's the 3rd book in a 6-book series by Michael Scott. It takes history, mythology, blends it all together with a hint of magic, and it's a really fun read. And Joy is my current mentee. She's fantastic to work with. Fun fact, I love playing Pokemon, and the newest game is pretty great despite some of the bugs.
Thank you so much, Julia. And I just found it fun how you mentioned that TechCom kind of came to you. I feel like that's always fun to hear about, and it's true. It's a field that does that. And so thank you each again for your introductions. And so now we get to the meat of the presentation, and I can hand it off to Bethany for our first round of questions.
All right, thank you, John. If anyone knows me, they know I like asking questions, so I'm excited to be moderating the Q&A. So first, I've got some prepared questions we'll go through, and then after that, we'll be opening it up for Q&A. If you have anything along the way that comes to mind, do feel free to put it in the chat, and we'll make sure to ask those questions. So we want to give everyone a chance to get to extract all of the knowledge from the brains of these amazing people. So my first question for the panelists is, what is one lesson you would pass on to people entering the field of technical communication now?
Probably ask questions even when you think they're stupid. There have been many times when I've heard an acronym and been like, that means something. What does that mean? I feel like I should know this, but I don't know this.
So there's no downside to asking when you don't know. Yeah, that's a good lesson.
To piggyback off of that, when I first started at Thompson, I feel like I was a yes man. I just immediately said yes in teams, and then I went to go kind of figure out how I had to do it. In hindsight, I was being asked things I shouldn't have been told to do because this bureaucracy and the food chain of corporate life. And now I know, don't be a yes man. Always ask questions. Always ask for clarifying questions. It's so much better if you just hold your hands and wait, and you won't get into any scuffles. Not like I didn't get in trouble, just to clarify. I was
You
just
didn't get any fights that you're gonna confess
Oh,
to
no.
here on the recording.
I was the freshie. I was the fresh meat and I was just asked to do stuff I should not have been asked to do. But
So you're saying it's important to advocate for yourself
always, and ask questions.
and ask questions. James, you have any words of wisdom on a lesson you would pass on?
Yes, actually one I've been learning very recently, as in now. The project we're in a bit of a crunch. So we have a lot of work and not quite enough time to do it. One of the things that one of the lessons I've been learning is triage. Not to aim for completion of every single thing. You're going to run into a lot of instances, depending on the job, where you have to you have to focus on the absolute priorities and get those done. And the other things that need to be fixed can be done later, or, depending on the circumstances, you might not even be able to get them. They might happen during the next sprint, the next, section of the project. So that's something I've had to adjust to, and it's something to be prepared for, because depending on the job, you may run into that as well.
So when to know it's good enough for now.
Yes, exactly. Just some of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Cora says we call that mitigating fires. You hear a lot about firefighting, I think, in the workplace, the longer you're in the profession. Shannon.
I hear putting out fires, and I hear playing 52 card pickup.
Oh, okay. I haven't experienced that particular expression as much in my line of work, so I'll keep that one in mind. Shannon, do you have any thoughts on a lesson you would pass on?
Yeah, adding on to what everyone said, my take is to be bold, ask questions, connect with people that are in a position of interest to you. Network is so important, but it comes down to don't feel like you're insignificant because you're just starting. That's why it's always important to ask questions. That's why it's always important to find someone that you trust who's well established, so you can understand the field a lot better, understand the scope of work you're doing, understand the industry that you're in. But most importantly, stand up for yourself, learn as much as you can, be a sponge, absorb everything, and just be bold, be yourself, just ask questions and do it all.
Yeah, that's great advice. Kind of bringing it all together into one thing. So, as someone who hasn't been new for a while but has in the past to the profession, I've always been a believer that people who are new bring a fresh perspective. Do you feel that being a new technical communicator provides some advantages entering the profession?
You start off bringing your school knowledge into the profession, and sometimes that can be reminding people of process that we learned in school if they've forgotten it. Or in my experience at JHT, when I was first hired, they were often saying, oh, this is great, we have a new person to give a brand new perspective. Is there something we could be doing better? Are we not explaining this as clearly as we should be? And being able to point out, hey, this process that we're using to get things done, it could be streamlined a little.
Yeah, questioning why we've done things the way we've been doing them, I think is definitely a valuable asset. Anyone else have any realizations from being new?
An experience that kind of ties in with that. When I was first starting, I was still pretty new as a contractor at Lockheed. We were on this project we were on had a lot of converting documents, from one format into another, as well as a lot of working with graphics, and you had to format them in a particular way. And the instructions we had involved a lot of doing them, one by one by one. And in looking into it a bit more and in asking questions, I was able to find more efficient ways to do that, convert graphics in batches. There was a way to kind of work with the programming language, so we could basically speed things up quite a bit. And it was, I think that was definitely a part of just coming in fresh and being like, there has to be a better way. And
This can't be it.
gladly
Right?
there was. Yes, exactly. So that's definitely, you can come in with fresh eyes and maybe see things a bit different that people have just kind of accepted.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree. I'm always grateful for people questioning, is there a reason we're doing it this way, or have we just lost all perspective and are continuing to do the process forever? Shannon or Cora, do you have any thoughts on assets to being new?
Yeah, I was going to say, along with the asking questions thing from that was earlier stated, I think that being a sponge is what we call it, is the most beneficial thing. So people, in my experience, want to help you. They want to help you do better. That way their job is easier for the most part. If you work with people, that's probably your job. I would say ask all the questions, be a sponge, because people want to help you. And honestly, helping you only benefits really you. So I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Gives people a chance to connect with you, right? And pass on information that they might otherwise just assume you know. So yeah, those are great insights. I know I've got to ask one, of course, that takes it back to some of the things we've already heard about FTC. How has FTC helped you in your career? Being a member, being part of it, any part of that experience?
FTC led me to STC, and that has in turn helped me get every single job I've had so far.
And there's the sales pitch. Thank you all for coming. No, I'm really grateful that's been a good experience for you, Julia.
So I believe it was FTC that hosted the meeting in probably January or February of last year, not this year, last year. And the meeting was a bunch of mentors getting together and talking about essentially imposter syndrome and how hard it is to find a job, and that it's okay and it takes time. And that pep talk is exactly what I needed to kind of, I don't know, get me back in the groove for interviews, help me kind of get myself together enough to land a job. And honestly, once I was in the right mindset, I think that helps a lot. I had interviews lined up for weeks, and it was a nice feeling. So thank you for people who set that up, because I cannot be the only one who experienced like growth from that.
Yeah, that's great.
No, you're not. I went through something similar. Not only did I transfer universities, but I also transferred majors. I thought I was dead set on being an engineering major. I had studied it for so long, and then to suddenly change careers, I understood what technical communication was, but I didn't have a full understanding to where I could be confident and say, this is the career I wanted. So I joined FTC, and at the time I tried to participate in as many events as I could, and it provided a lot of relief. It provided a lot of support, encouragement that, hey, what I'm doing is a rational choice. It's something that has a future. It's something that, what I've come to realize now, is well needed in quite a lot of industries. So I'm forever thankful for FTC, simply for being there during a time where I was completely unsure of myself, completely unsure of what the future would hold for me. So thank you to everyone at the time who really took time and effort to explain to me what it was that I was getting myself into, basically.
There's nothing wrong with needing some reassurance sometimes, right? I know in the chat that imposter syndrome is a huge thing. It is for people at all levels. So don't think it's just people who are starting out. It definitely strikes people at any point because we never know everything, right? There's always more to learn, which is part of what attracts us to the profession in the first place. So I'm really glad that you had such a positive experience. James, did I come to you already?
Not yet. No. Yeah.
You got thoughts?
I had never been part of a student group before FTC. I learned about it through Professor Applin's class and decided to kind of try my hand at that and get involved. One of the first big events that I was a part of, I believe it was Alex was president of the local STC chapter at the time, I think, and he sent out a message asking, if anybody wanted to be co-MC for a panelist for a meeting, and it was very far outside my comfort zone. But I thought, I should do this. I should step up, try it out, see what happens. And I ended up, being co-MC, introducing some of the guests. Two of those guests were technical writers at Universal Creative, which is the kind of creative wing. It's like the Imagineers, basically, but for Universal Studios. And I ended up interviewing with them. They were two of my interviewers when I applied for an internship position at Universal Creative. And I ended up getting a position. It was just right at the beginning of the pandemic. So I was one of like 5 people who ended up getting an internship at that time. I was shockingly lucky. But that was directly a result of FTC and STC working together. I also learned about my Lockheed Martin contract position. I can't remember if it was through FTC or STC, but I learned about it
through the pipeline.
Yes, that pipeline, that partnership. And I was able to land that as well. So a big part of, a lot of it is what you know, for sure, skills. But if you don't know anyone, you're going to have a much tougher time finding a role. Networking is a huge part of it. Knowing people and having them know you and what you're capable of is hugely important. So groups like this can really make a really big difference, and you can make a big difference in these groups as well.
Yeah, beautiful answer. Thank you. Yeah, and also just thank you for coming for our sales pitch. Join FTC and STC. We'll help you get jobs. It's true though. So I'm really grateful you've had such a good experience with that.
So Bethany, can I
You can.
earlier I put up talk about the CWEP program. I said, what is the CWEP program? And again, we always do this, we just explain what the acronym is, but I know at least 2 people on the panel tonight. I think Shannon and James were CWEP people. And I'd like to, and every year we get a CWEP, so people email me, and then Carolyn and Ronnie and I, we send people out information on the CWEP program at Lockheed Martin. But for so many people, I know in the last 15 years, 30 of our students have gotten CWEP things, and it's served as a transition into Lockheed Martin. So if you guys could just, I think James and Shannon, you were CWEP people.
Yeah, we'll go to Shannon.
Yes, I can sales pitch the CWEP program. So CWEP is College Work Experience Program. It's a partnership between UCF and Lockheed. It's an internship, so students must have at least 2 semesters prior to graduating to be considered. And you apply through the CWEP website, and you basically go through, it's almost like a hiring process. You do get an interview, you have to upload a resume and everything. And it is a great way for students to get started in an industry, especially for something like technical communication. A lot of students end up at Lockheed full-time after they've completed the CWEP program. I am not full-time yet, but I am on contract full-time. So that's a pretty great success for me. Basically, students work up to 25 hours a week. It's extremely flexible. Students get Fridays off, so it's perfect to help find balance between work and school. Your program managers or your hiring managers are very accommodating. They understand that students are going to school full-time while also balancing an internship. They're going to throw you into Lockheed work, so it's perfect for industry experience, but they're also very understanding that you are trying to balance essentially work and school. I will strongly advocate for the program because without it, I don't think I would have any industry experience as much as I've had while interning through CWEP. And I've noticed that the things I've learned in the aerospace industry has seeped into my schoolwork and vice versa. So it's astonishing to see how what I've learned in TechCom translate into an actual workplace as I'm doing both simultaneously. So if anyone has like any specifics or any like questions or concerns, feel free to send me a message, whether through Discord or even in the chat right now. I'd be happy to explain it. Overall, it's such an amazing program. If you want to take a jab at it, I highly recommend it. You never know where you'll end up because CWEP is so vast. It accommodates so many different majors, and it's incredible. Yeah.
I see Cora has her hand raised.
Once in school, always in school. Okay, I had a question about the 410 schedule. Does it really affect your work life? I mean, your work school balance with like the long work hours on Monday through Thursday, or is the 410 only for other people?
410 is for full-time work, and actually over the summer, if you're a CWEP, you can work full-time, so you would be on the 410 schedule. For me, I mean, technically you're on a 4-day working schedule because you can't work Fridays. That's like a rule established by CWEP. So to kind of answer your question and tweak it a little bit, I thought having Fridays off made a difference for me. I took mainly online courses throughout my undergrad career, so I had a lot more flexibility, but having Fridays off to just kind of decompress and then catch up on things during the week made all the difference to me. So I really enjoyed having the 4-day work weeks. Sometimes because I only work 25 hours, I would actually max out all my hours on Wednesday. So I would get Thursday and Friday off to catch up on coursework or just kind of decompress, get myself ready for the following week. Working on a 410 full-time schedule now is not as different. The only difference is I don't have essays to write. I don't have discussion posts, but it does help establish a work-life balance because you have an extra day off. Hopefully that answered your question.
Perfectly, thank you.
Right. Well, I think I've just got maybe one or two more questions before we'll move to the open Q&A. Alex has put a little bit more about the 410 schedule in the chat. I'm also gathering some questions from the chat that I'll ask when we get to the open Q&A, so feel free to put anything else there. We'll make sure to cover it. So I have to ask a question from the side of us older folks who have been doing TechCom for a while. How can experienced veterans in technical communication best help new professionals on the job? So what advice would you give us to help you?
You can't over-explain. If you think you are, you're not. Keep going.
All right, good to keep that in mind. Lots of communication.
One thing I think, no slight on any Miss Glasshoff, I love you so much. Please don't take this the wrong way. I do wish we understood why we start a process, or like what goes, like for example, giving an RFP. What does that mean? When we write our proposals, why do we need to write proposals? I think understanding the why we did things can help, like once you graduate into a job, you can kind of understand like the entire process from like a high level overview type of perspective. And that would have been nice, because I understood like what a proposal was and I had an idea of how things worked and like what a style guide was, which was awesome. I do feel like I was slightly underprepared because tech writing isn't just proposals. It's not just tech writing, right? There's an entire genre of jobs that we were able to do with our degree. I just feel like it would have been nice to like know a little bit tiny bit more about why we were writing what we were writing.
Right, so a little more context going in.
Yeah.
Sounds like would be nice. All right, that definitely makes sense. It's a very broad field too, so I know that presents a lot of challenges for knowing specifics once you get to be on the job. James or Shannon, any thoughts?
I would say just having patience. Ask a lot of questions, and my lead is both of my leads have been enormously patient in kind of nudging me in the right direction, or just giving me the answers, and just helping me better understand what I'm doing, how to do it, or the why. So yeah, just patience is hugely important.
All right.
It makes me less anxious about asking.
Do you think reassurance would also help? Since I know that can be something that you're often searching for early on. You're doing a
Absolutely.
good job. You're asking good questions. You know, you have good insights.
You're not dumb at all. You're not an imposter.
You're not an imposter. You actually know what you're doing. Look at you. Shannon, I saw you nodding your head. Did you have thoughts along that line?
Yeah, I mean, I work with James, so we share a lot of the similar experiences that he's been mentioning throughout. Just having patience makes all the difference. It helps me personally feel like that person is more approachable, knowing that I can ask questions no matter how simple they may seem. And also like over explaining, you can never over explain was also really like spot on. Like I'm trying to absorb everything in TechCom, what it is I'm doing. So I'm not afraid to ask questions and I'm not afraid to listen to everything that this person has to say.
Yeah, and I'll say on the other side that level of engagement is really great, because sometimes people, you know, don't have as much energy and passion if they've been in the field for a while. So it's great that you bring that level of care to what you're doing. So I think checking the time, I'm going to ask one more question, then we'll move to the open Q&A. So I know it's been an interesting time of transition due to some major world events in the past few years, especially namely the pandemic, which have changed ways of working. And I think to some extent, maybe ways of searching for a job. So do you have any recommendations for a job search strategy for people who are, you know, trying to find that first job? Knowing that we already have the CWEP recommendation, and I'll make sure that's logged as a good answer for this one.
Make sure you're networking through FTC, through STC, and even LinkedIn. For me, LinkedIn is a bit intimidating, so I typically stick to my STC, FTC folks. And it may take months. You may get a lot of silence as a response. You may get the occasional no, but you will eventually get that yes. It's okay to commiserate with each other and say, man, this has taken a long time. It does. It's okay. You're doing good.
Positive self-talk also encouraged as a strategy.
I would say, and this is especially important now that everything is online, having an online presence, in addition to networking, just having, you know, whether it's a LinkedIn, even if you are able to set up an online portfolio. One of the great things about tech writing is you can highlight your skills. You can show those off. I've done this. These are documents that I've created. Whether it's an infographic or something like that, different papers you've written, you can show that off and really show what you're capable of. Somebody doesn't even necessarily have to meet you or talk directly to you to say, oh, okay, this person has some skills. So being able to do that can really help you open that door and get people to really notice you and give you a chance.
Yeah, it's great advice. Think of it as the portfolio as an opportunity, not just a task. Cora?
With a disclaimer that you cannot post everything that you write online because sometimes it's proprietary and the things that you write may be owned by the company that you're working for. Very important clause. Second thing, I agree with everything that they were saying. I think that I was talking to John about this probably this time last year, maybe a little bit earlier, but I went through probably 100 interviews, like 100 job applications and then 20 interviews. And I was just applying every single day. I tailored my resume like we've always shoved down FTC throats, which love it, shove it more. It's so important. But the day I decided that it was truly worth all of the effort I was putting into it, I was about to go apply at the local Starbucks. So I'm saying that no matter what, it's just keep with it. All of those hours of typing and crunching, it's so worth it. It's so worth it. And now I have my actual dream job. Hindsight, maybe not my dream job. There's always something better, but love my job.
It can be your current dream. Dreams are not permanent. So, you know,
yeah.
It could be your dream job for now. So Shannon, I know you already highlighted CWEP. Did you have any other advice for people entering the field on how to find that first job?
I think all of the other panelists did a great job explaining, so I couldn't have said it better myself.
There you go. Official stamp of approval. So I think now we're going to move to the open Q&A, but I'm going to ask a couple of the questions I saw in the chat. So I'll go in the order I have them. If I missed your question, feel free to ping me in the chat, or you can use the little hand raise function in Zoom. I tell you where it is, but my screen's different because I'm screen sharing, so I don't know where it would appear on your current screen. So the first question we had was, in your opinion, what do you think is the most effective way to network in this field? And I know Julia has touched on going through FTC and FTC and those personal connections being really helpful. And we've had some mentions of LinkedIn. Anything else you guys would want to highlight about effective ways to network?
This sounds tacky, but I would always follow the companies I was applying for on LinkedIn. And during or before the interviews, whenever they'd set up the interviews, or we could do an email. I mean, it's the 21st century. We can do some social stalking. I found exactly who was interviewing me. I found out where they went to school. I found out things about their job, and I kind of tried to learn as much about the position and the people I would be interviewing with as much as possible. And I think that truly helped ease some anxiety, honestly.
And it's a way to use your research skills to better prepare yourself. I try to remind
That's
myself
what
to
we're
call it
calling it.
research and not stalking. But yeah. Google your interviewers and look them up on LinkedIn. That's great advice. So anyone else thoughts on tips or tricks or effective ways to network?
There's also your in-person network, family connections. If your dad's coworker is hiring, or they're a hiring manager or whatever, or someone in a group you belong to outside of TechCom, maybe they know a TechCom role.
Yeah, that's a great point, because we are everywhere in companies. You wouldn't expect technical writers lurking, writing good documentation. So it does not hurt to connect with people, even if they're outside of the profession. Shannon or James, any thoughts? I see James is unmuting. What you got?
So I guess I'm just thinking potentially like alumni organizations. Also on LinkedIn, I want to say that jobs, so when you look at a position, it will show how many alumni of your school work there. Mm-hmm. So if alumni of your school work there, they're interested in people who go and graduated from your university. So that's kind of something to look at a little bit. Would be just a little foot in the door if you're not going through FTC, STC. It's one other little avenue.
And FTC, UCF's a bit of a it's pretty well established school with a few alumni here or there. So your odds are pretty good of finding a few UCF grads in most places you'll go, unless they're in another country. Shannon is nodding. You're also agreeing with the prevalence of UCF, especially I would assume at Lockheed. You've got lots of UCF grads. Well, if there are no other thoughts on that, then I'll go on to the next question, which is a bit more specific. Based on your experiences, what kind of programs or software should technical writers be familiar with? And I know this is going to be an industry specific one to some extent. So what have you learned in your career so far about programs and software?
XML, SGML, HTML.
All the L's?
XML is a very popular one, yeah.
Would you be able to explain what XML is, or would you like me to put a link in the chat?
XML is extended markup language. The defense industry thrives on XML. So it is a type of software where tagging is used to organize content. So for example, a paragraph would publish and use a para tag, whereas a bulleted list would use a ran list tag. So you're basically taking content and organizing them in these tags and then publishing them in a certain format for the government. So for government-based jobs, XML is most likely the way to go. And SGML is a type of markup language. It's a little bit simpler than XML, but they're kind of interchangeably used. At least in my work, they are, but XML definitely.
All right, good to know. Julia?
In terms of which software to learn. Learn as many of them as you can. Notepad does get used. Programs that are similar to Notepad get used. ArborText, Madcap Flare, which we had a presentation on earlier this year, also gets used. Just learn whatever you can. If you find something, learn it if you're interested, and if you're not, maybe just take 2 minutes and look it over, then move on.
I see Jonathan has raised his hand.
I'm sorry. Do you want to go with the questions that people have been asking in chat first before you go to me?
Oh, sorry. I figured it was on the same one. Yes, I will come to you. This was the only other one that I had from chat. So
Okay, yeah, do that one first, and then you can come to me.
okay, I'll come to you next. All right. So I think we didn't go to James and Cora yet. Experience with software, or writing languages as well.
Yeah, so as Shannon was saying, XML is a big thing. We use ArborText. Also other programs, so we use Jira, which is a task management software, which is really good to know. So kind of project management in general is very, very useful for technical writing. So use a bit of Confluence. I don't know if that's
Confluence?
Yeah, Confluence.
Yeah.
We use that as well. And of course, Word, Outlook, all these kind of programs you almost kind of take for granted. It's good to be familiar.
Yeah, and I can just highlight for Confluence and Jira, those are both products from Atlassian, who has excellent online training, and you can use those applications for free for personal use. So those are really great to learn. Cora, I think I saw it.
That's Atlassian as well, isn't it?
No, Snagit is TechSmith, and now you gave me my opening to talk about Snagit, my favorite software. It's now become a long running joke. I love Snagit. I try not to talk about Snagit every meeting, but you've done this to me, where I have to say that Snagit is amazing. It's screenshots and more. So it's also quite cheap as software goes. So it's a great one to learn.
It's super, super useful. I love it.
It just does what it's supposed to. It's delightful.
Adobe products are good too, like Photoshop, Illustrator, all of that are used to generate graphics for your documents.
Yeah. Which reminds me, so one thing that I did while I was a student at UCF, I'm not sure if it's still the case, but it was when I was a student, I was able to get like a discount, or it was either a discount or free access to the Adobe products. Now, if you have free access to those Adobe products or discounted access to those products, you can, I believe Lynda was free as well, which is an educational resource, which is now through LinkedIn. I think you can take courses in those programs. So you can learn how to become proficient. That's how I became proficient, or at least passingly proficient in those programs. So using those resources that you have available to you, you can really improve yourself quite a lot on your own time, and really improve your skills and make yourself a more valuable candidate for any position.
Yeah, I see we've got some links in the chat that are helpful for tracking that down. So Cora, I think you were gonna share next.
Yeah, just to piggyback off that, I learned Atlassian Suite, so like Jira and Confluence, or a high level version of them until I kind of figured out what jobs I was applying for, and then whatever. Anyway, so that's all free. And that information is free. And the courses are actually quite interactive and quite, dare I say, fun. And it's such a good tool to have on your resume. So kudos to that. And we use it every single day at my work, or every other day, especially talking with the dev teams. That's what they love to do. Love to pull stuff off of Jira. And then data side, honestly, this sounds super chuggy, but Word is where a lot of companies are at nowadays. So companies still type up in Word documents. They still use Excel. They still use, what's the one, SharePoint, because they're old, but they love them. So knowing those weird Microsoft suites, it really gets you a job nowadays, because
I would like to say, I don't know that anyone loves SharePoint. I have yet to find someone, but
what's better?
It's there because right? Because they bought into the Microsoft ecosystem. So you get Word, Excel, SharePoint, Outlook. So sometimes you get to be so lucky as to engage with all those products.
Yeah, and because you're young, they will all come to you asking for help when that's not your job. So just be prepared.
All right. Well, I'm now going to call on Jonathan. Thank you for your patience. What question do you have for the panelists?
No, thank you. What was I going to say? I am willing to wait as long as you want. I'm going to try to phrase my question the best as I can. My major is in electrical engineering, but I'm minoring in technical communication. If I wanted to market myself for a technical communication position in networking, whether it be an internship full-time or whatever, how would I want to make my technical communication skills marketed higher than my electrical engineering skills, or should it be done the opposite way and to possibly do it equally so that possibly the technical side also has some background on my technological sides as well, technological skills as well. Oh, and for a question specifically to Cora, what kind of van do you drive now that you're traveling around full time?
We'll do the van question first, and then we'll come to the next one. So
It's 1986 Bannigan, Westphalia. So it's an all original interior, VW engine, 2.1 liter water box. Very pretty, a little rusty, covered in paint. She's awesome.
does she have a name?
Lola, like Lola from the Kinks.
Oh, that's wonderful. All right. So it sounds like the question is really how to weight, I guess, tech comm skills versus technical skills when pursuing a technical communication internship. So if you have any thoughts on how to approach that.
I would start by tailoring your resume and just gearing more towards the tech comm side of things. You can absolutely mention, I have a background in engineering. It would help you when you're communicating with SPEs to say, yeah, I understand what you're talking about. I've done that too.
There you go. Coming at it empathetically.
I think another fun way to look at your situation is personal projects. Like have your own set of personal projects. If you can document how to use something that you've built, I think that shows both your engineering skills and your tech comm skills.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah, I was going to suggest something similar is if you can write up, build documents, write up documentation that kind of highlights your electrical engineering skills. You can highlight both skills at the same time. You show you're capable of both. You know what you're talking about and you know how to talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. See the synergy as a strength, right? And something to highlight.
Exactly.
And I'm calling outside the panel. I'm actually going to ask Alex Garcia about this one, since I know he has experience coming from the technical side of things.
Sure. So I would say I agree with what James just said. You know, you want to show them that you're kind of that hybrid person that they're looking for. You want to show them that either you would be a great addition to an engineering team, you would be a great addition to a tech comm team. I know in government, in aerospace, where I've spent most of my career, at Missiles and Fire Control, we're embedded into the logistics departments. So on programs. So really what technical communicators there do, we get to know the entire life cycle of a product and get to know the, they call it the integrated logistics and sustainment. And there's 12 types of life cycles for that, for when a product is in sustainment. So you want to kind of understand a life cycle, ILS, if that would be a really marketable way of getting into either an engineering team or a tech writing team. So. And I know that the question and the answer was very defense and aerospace minded, but that's kind of my background.
Yeah, thank you,
I
Alex.
take no harm in that at all.
So hopefully, sorry, I will make sure that any other panelists have anything you wanted to include. All right. Hopefully you found that helpful, Jonathan. A few different strategies and approaches.
I did, especially with your response, Alex. I thank you very much for that. It's good to know that actually, I shouldn't really be asking questions, but to comment a little further, it's nice to know that you can actually add on and that both sides can be carried onto the resume and to market myself that way. Thank you so much.
I'll say from the side of someone who is an English degree followed by another English degree. I love working with technical people who can write. Not to besmirch wonderful engineers, but they're typically not known for being good writers. So engineers who can write are a wonderful asset to any company. All right. I think I grabbed all the questions from the chat. Did I overlook any so far? All right. Does anyone have any questions you'd like to raise your hand for? Otherwise, I will return to my additional prepared questions that I have been waiting on. I'm just kidding. All right. I'm not seeing anything yet, but that doesn't mean you still have time. We've got a little bit of time left, so feel free to put something in the chat. We have a recording be available afterwards. Yes, well, it is being recorded. I think it'll be on the FTC YouTube channel and the STC YouTube channel.
I'll grab the link for the STC one.
All right. Thank you so much, Julia. She's on it. And Alex has shared a link to some useful information on what he was talking about. So then I think I'm going to go on to my other question, which I think I'll try to stay away from tools specifically, but what skills beyond communication do you think are most essential for success in your workplace? So aside from just the straight writing or communication skills and the specific tools, which things do you think have made you feel successful in your workplace? I see Cora, she's ready.
Yeah, so for my job specifically, I'm not necessarily, quote, a tech writer in the sense that you guys are tech writers. I'm a tech writer in the sense that I create these large, giant, monotonous documents, similar to Miss Glasshop's courses that she made us write for. And I make it palatable for government officials, also people who do not like to read. They also do not like to read people's writing. So with that being said, I think it's very, very important to be highly organized. If you are managing a bunch of different documents that all have to be compiled into one 100-page proposal, you have to know what you're doing and you need to have enough patience to organize the people writing in it also. So being highly organized, my biggest recommendation.
Excellent advice for work and for life. And it's definitely something I'm sure you get even better at as you grow over time. Other panelists, thoughts on things that you feel have made you successful?
Being adaptable and resilient in the workplace. Personally for me, where I work, one day I could be on program A, and then before I know it, I could be on program B by the end of day. So being able to change and adapt quickly to the different military standards or different military requirements for each program has helped me kind of alleviate a lot of discomfort or a lot of issues that arise with being thrown onto different programs.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. If you were not willing to go with the flow, it seems like it'd be very challenging to move forward each day.
The thing that I do is, actually I have it right here. To a new page. So I have a planner that I use to write down, here's what I've done every day. It's also helpful for review time. So you can say, look at all the things I've done this year. And you are absolutely right, Shannon. Be flexible. One of your teammates may need help with something. So being able to just jump on that and give them a hand is also really good.
I think I see Cora preparing to speak again.
one more time. Sorry, guys.
No.
Off of that note, you said reviews. I'm not sure if you guys do stand-ups or if you feel like stand-ups will be in your future. That's essentially a daily or weekly or bi-weekly, however it goes, meeting with your immediate work group and probably their superior, maybe, possibly. And we have a HOD at Reuters that I speak with. So not necessarily people I work with every single day, but people who I touch base with occasionally. It's just a meetup anyway. So I think it's very imperative that you write down exactly what you do every day, but also what you completed every day. That way your list is kind of an ongoing flowing list. That way when they ask you, hey, so what did you do yesterday? You'll just say, I worked on this one thing all day and it took me 8 hours to do it. Does not look as good as you saying, I did this in the document, I did this, this, and this. Because it makes you seem a lot more competent, even though you can simplify it as easy as you want it to be.
So you're saying take the opportunities to communicate your successes and be transparent.
And organize them, yes.
And organize. Make it easy for people. All right. James, did you have anything?
I would say people skills are very important. That was something I didn't have. I was okay with it when I was just working in IT, just okay. But going to UCF, becoming part of FTC, STC, kind of growing in my roles as a tech writer, having people skills is immensely important. Being able to forge those relationships with SMEs, with your fellow tech writers, to make those friends and make those allies in the workplace is a very important skill to have.
Yeah, absolutely. Relationship building is key. And I know we had a question that Alex asked in the chat that's specific for Shannon and James, but I'll go ahead and ask it here. Would you prefer being part of a center of excellence where programs come to you or being embedded on a program? So this is an industry specific one, but it's a good question. And Shannon, I know you put yours in the chat, but if you don't mind sharing it.
Yeah, I mean, based on my experience so far, Center of Excellence is also abbreviated as COE. That's my experience so far, is just being part of a COE. We actually recently had a staff meeting that talked about COEs and their roles in RMS. So that really solidified my thoughts and my perspective of being on the team that I am on right now.
I'm not sure.
You're waiting to find out.
Yeah, I've been on a couple different programs, so I'm not sure where I land on that. I like to try out new things, and yeah, I'd be curious to see where my career takes me.
It's a great answer. So we've got just a few minutes left, I think, before we close. Were there any final thoughts that anyone on the panel wanted to share? Things we didn't highlight that you feel are important about starting out as a new professional, or just summarizing any of your thoughts so far?
I can jump back to the previous question briefly. When you're getting criticism on a document, it is not criticism towards you as a person. It's literally just, how can we make the document better? It's nothing against you. Do not take it personally.
Yeah, that's good to bear in mind. Anyone else things, or if you want to piggyback off of Julia's comment?
Yeah, to piggyback on that, the end product is for someone else. It's for the user, and you want to make it. You're part of a team to produce something that is as easily understandable and effective as possible. You're all working toward that. So any criticism of that is just someone trying to find a way to make that product better and make everything a little more effective and make the customer happier, which helps you all keep your jobs.
You're like, stay grateful, stay employed. But yeah, we do serve the end users at the end of the day, most of us. Shannon, Cora, anything you want to add? All right, it's all been said. Excellent. Well, then I think we're going to just remind you all to stay in touch, both with STC and FTC. We have a variety of links here. I think many of these have been shared in the chat, but they'll also be in the slides. We'll make sure to share those. And then I think I'm just going to move to the closing, but I've been reminded that we have to do the I don't want to say uncomfortable, but the delightful group photo that we would do photos if we were in the room, but we're in the Zoom room, so we do pictures just to commemorate this moment. Can I ask someone else to do the taking of the photo since I am screen sharing? John, would you be willing?
Yeah, I could do that. And yeah, I wonder who sent the reminder of taking photos. Who could it be?
John, it says it came from me to me.
Oh, really?
Because we're logged in on the same account.
Oh, that's
So
right.
it says I sent it to myself.
Yeah. You're probably like, who's this message coming from? Wait, is
My
that
own
me?
brain.
It's
From
you.
the future.
Yeah. But yeah,
Right.
I can take a photo of us all then.
That'd be great. So give us a fun countdown and we'll give our best Zoom smiles.
All right, sounds good. All right, here we go. All right, so 3, 2, 1. Sorry, hold for just one more second. All right, 3, 2, 1. Got it. All right, we're good.
Okay, let's go. Oh man, I was video recording the whole time. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I hit the what is it, the screenshot button, but it didn't go for a few seconds, and I was like, oh no, I don't want everyone to wait here for 30 seconds.
Yeah, no, it's okay. We're good. We all survived. Thank you. Thank you for being good sports and for playing along. Thank you for being part of this event. I just want to say that, so the conversation doesn't end here. I know we've had a great conversation in the chat. I think most of our presenters are open for further contact based on what they said. So, I think feel free to reach out to anyone who shared their profile on LinkedIn. So like we've heard throughout the entire presentation, networking and making connections is so important in the professional world. And we just encourage you to visit our websites, both FTC and STC. And as was asked, we do have a recording we're making at this very moment that will be shared on YouTube pages for both organizations. Also, I know JD has put in the chat that it was great to see WC here tonight. so shout out to WC for being here at our presentation. And I think without further ado, thank you all for being here. It was great to see you. We hope to see you, I think FTC for their next program in February and us for our programs in March. So take care, everyone. And thank you to the panelists again.
Have a wonderful night.
Thank you, everyone.
Great night, everybody, and a great weekend.